Yeah, we see the sign here in this icon. It says Sedona. Oh, yeah. 2,100 miles away. You know, that's right. Mountains and red rocks. Sedona. Yeah.
Everybody, welcome aboard. Again, I apologize for our late departure this morning. We had a big mechanical issue with our first vehicle, and then we had to wait for that other replacement that you're currently riding on to show up. So again, I apologize for the inconvenience. These things happen, but it's never ever a good situation. So thank you for your patience. I'll try to make you informed and make you get ready for your Kennedy Space Center adventure. My name is Brad, and your driver's name is Frood. We're driving through the Convention Center District. This is the North Hall of the Convention Center over on your right. But there's a really cool attraction coming up on your left. Not this big hotel. That's not it. Keep looking past these trees as we drive here, and you'll see a new theme park called Epic Universe that will appear shortly for you. There's going to be roller coasters. There's going to be some really cool attractions out there as part of the Universal Resort. It's scheduled to open later this year in May. Kind of look, we're getting close. So,
wow.
You guys like, where's this theme park? There's just trees in the way, I can't see that. Believe me, you will see it. Now, some of the lands that they're going to have here are the Universal monsters, the original movie monsters, the Wolfman, Frankenstein, Dracula. There's the big resort that's located inside the theme park with the big dome-shaped architecture on the design. You've got these rainbow tiled colored buildings here. These are some more resorts that are located on the exterior of the theme park. Once we get between these two buildings, look over to your left to see if you can spot the yellow painted roller coasters out there. Another land here is going to be for Nintendo. Anybody ever heard of Nintendo? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you have. Mario Kart is one of the attractions here. Anybody play that on your console? Well, this one is an actual attraction ride you can sit down on and check out.
Oh.
But you can see there's a lot of prep work going on. They're trying to get these intersections up and running and putting in these new traffic lights and drainage and all that. So it's been a bit of a challenge for us locals here. Because, you know, here in Orlando, folks, we just don't have enough theme parks. Yeah. This is like the 10th or whatever. So, it's Orlando, that's what it is. There's some roller coasters right to the left. Quick. There they are. There you go. And all these people who live here in these apartments, they have no idea how much fun they're in. All these apartments here, they're going to have people going to theme parks. But hey, you know, like I said, this is Orlando. All right, we're heading. Oh, there goes a bald eagle. See it flying away with two crows chasing it?
Eagle.
Wow.
Eagle.
Those crows are brave.
Shiny object. That was cool. Okay, Kennedy Space Center. I'm going to get you guys prepared. For my guests that I need to hand out some guide maps to, I'm going to walk down the aisle. I think I may have given everybody a guide map. If you do not have a guide map and you'd like one, please raise your hand. Okay, let me come down the aisle and hand those out.
track, it'll be in Phoenix, that's where we're from.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when we headed to the track, we take
Gotta
him
get back.
back.
They don't race at the little oval anymore. It's a bigger track.
Yeah, they redid it,
Yeah.
yeah. They redid the dog ride.
And I apologize if I end up in your lap. Unintentional. Where's Beverly, huh? Beverly? I give you one of these? You have one? Okay, thank you. All right, everybody, welcome aboard. Now, let's get you guys prepared for Kennedy Space Center. Open up the map, if you haven't already done so. Numero uno, parking lot, bottom left-hand side. That's where this motor coach is going to find a parking place at today. Bottom up to that map, that's where we're going to stop at. You will need to be back on the bus with me at 5 o'clock. We're going to be leaving at 5 o'clock, okay? We will be there. I promise. We will be there waiting for you this time. I wish I had presents I could give everybody. I really do, because I know it's very unfortunate when you have the situation like that. But come back to this location around 4:45. Get on the bus. I like to play a little game. Whoever's last on my bus trips, we're going to clap nice and loud for you. Okay, we'll give you a nice welcome. Let you know how much we've been missing you. If that's okay. So it's a little motivation to not be the last one on the bus. So that's where we're going to be waiting for you at 4:45 p.m. today. We're leaving at 5 o'clock. Now, for my guests that are doing the airboat, please raise your hand. I should have 9 people. I'm going to go through the list just to double check. Not missing anybody. If anybody wants to add the airboat, let me know. It's very affordable. I have the Moniask. All right, perfect. Peregrine. Perfect, thank you. 4 people there. Grundy Party and Julia Prus. There we go. All right, you all are doing the airboat trip. You're going to come back to that location where I pointed out where the bus is going to be waiting for you at 2:30. Just my airboat guests. You come back at 2:30, meet me there. We're going to take you on the airboat. We're going to drive out to the St. Johns River, and you're going to get on an airboat trip to see a lot of alligators. Okay? And then we'll get you back on the bus. We'll take you back to Kennedy Space Center, and you'll have just enough time to go potty if you need to. All right? But everybody else for the airboat guests, you guys will do the airboat trip. Okay? So 2:30 back at that same location on this big red bus that says Empire on it. Looking for me, your tour guide, Brad. Okay, folks, everybody else, if you're not doing the airboat, and even if you are doing the airboat, here's how you get into Kennedy Space Center. You see those series of red oval shapes on the ground there? That is the main entrance, Entrande Plaza, okay? That's where you're going to go right into the left-hand side where you see a big building there that says entrance. Kind of see that on your map. That is where you're going to go through a security checkpoint. Just like every airport, train station, bus depot nowadays, you get your bags checked and you make sure that you have metal detectors that you go through. You're going to do that here as well. If you have anything in your bags, metal or anything in your back pockets, put them in your bags. If you have your smartphone in your pocket, they're going to make you put it up here above your shoulders when you go through the metal detector. So put your smartphones in your bags, hand them over to your team. Again, if you don't have any bags, that's fine. Just take your smartphone out of your pocket when you go through the metal detectors. And you'll go through a security checkpoint right around that location right there. You guys see where I'm pointing at? Okay. All right, once you get in, you're going to take the tickets that I gave you, and you put the little barcode face down on the little reader. It'll beep, and then you'll be able to get into the park, okay? So you guys following? You okay? Okay, thank you. And then once you're in the park, there's the big rocket garden on your left-hand side. Okay, the rocket garden has walking tours that you could take with the host from Kennedy Space Center. I'm not walking around with you guys on a whole bus trip. It's not this type of trip. You guys are on your own. Okay, just make sure you're aware of that. But there are guides that work there that will walk around the rocket garden and talk for about 15-20 minutes about these spacecraft that you see there. And it's a really good photo opportunity as soon as you walk in. And you get a really quick introduction to the history of NASA by looking at these historic spacecraft. The other thing that's really cool about these rockets is every one of them are real except for one. There's only one that's a replica model. The other spacecraft in there are actual, they could have been ready to go up into space. Alright, the only one that's a model is the one right underneath where it says Rocket Garden. That shiny looking silver one with the black capsule. That's the only one that's a replica model. So you can take part in the walking tour. Well, how you can find out what time those tours start is when you get in and once you scan your tickets, there's a stand right there with a bunch of these guide maps and various language choices. So Espanol, you can get a guide map right there. Any other language besides English that you have a preference to, look for your guide map right at that front location there. And there's also daily schedules that are in those slots. It's a white slip of paper, it says daily schedule. Grab one of those, it'll tell you when the rocket garden tour is, or when the astronaut is talking in the theater. That kind of information I can't pass on to this. Other thing about information, if you'd like to, you can download the app. You see that little QR code on this front left? You can download that on your phone and have the language preference that you'd like as well. Okay, another option for you. Okay, here's the main attractions you're going to want to make sure you do today. And these are all included with your admission. For my guests that are doing the Explore Tour, please raise your hand. I should have 2 guests that are doing the Explore Tour. Yes? And here's my other Explore Tour. It is Julian. Where's Julian? Oh, that's you? Okay, then I have Raphael. Okay. You 2 are doing the Explore Tour. When you get in this morning, and everybody else, you can follow along with this. The main bus trip, okay, is located over here by this big U-shaped turnaround where the buses are at on that map, kind of over here. There's a big building when you walk in this morning that you're going to clearly see. It says bus tours, okay? And that's where you get on the bus that will take you out to the Apollo Saturn V Center, okay? That's this guide map on the bottom right here. Are you cold, ma'am? Are you cold? Okay, a little cold in here, I think. Alright, let me come back to Saturn V real quick because I want to point out something that's really cool. Look over here on your right. This is the Orlando International Airport. There's a plane taking off on the runway. This used to be a military installation called Pine Castle Air Force Base way back in the Cold War era. Now, of course, you see it's a very popular destination. But one of the planes that used to be out here is a type of bomber called a B-52 Stratofortress. There's one coming up on your right. It's going to be right over here in this big group of trees. Keep following on the right. See this big cluster of trees? Keep watching that group of trees and look for a B-52 Stratofortress as it appears magically. Right over here on your right. There it is. That's one of the strategic bombers U.S. Air Force trained crews on out here back in the Cold War era. After the Vietnam conflict, everything started to settle down a bit. They closed the military installation they made at Orlando Airport. Back then it was called McCoy Airport, and they gave it a 3-letter designation code of MCO. So that's why it's MCO here in Orlando. Alright, let's go back to the guide map. So I was talking about the Saturn V Center. So when you get in this morning, you go to that building that says bus tours. Go ahead and get right on the bus. I would recommend doing that early in the day because there's lots of student groups that come into Kennedy Space Center and the buses can get really crowded. The later that you wait is also bad because they will shut the bus trip down today at 2:30 p.m. Okay? So you want to make sure you get on the bus. So once you get on the bus tour, you leave that building here and then look at this inset map over here on the bottom right. Alright, you see where it leaves the visitor center? And it follows a dotted line, red dotted line, past the vehicle assembly building. Alright, and it goes all the way out to the Apollo Saturn V Center. Inside Saturn V Center is an Apollo moon rocket that was ready to go for the Apollo missions back in the early 1970s. It would have been possibly Apollo 18 on that rocket but they canceled the program after 17. And this is some of the actual hardware that was ready to go to the moon. Inside there, you'll also see a lunar rover, that car that they drove around on the surface of the moon. Anybody see those old video images of the moon rover? That's pretty cool to check that out. You've also got the command module and the lunar modules that were going to be used for the astronauts as they made their way to the lunar orbit and transition from that down to the lunar module all the way down to the surface of the moon. Anybody heard of that story before? Yeah? Yeah? You guys have heard of that? All right. Who was the first astronaut to step foot on the surface of the moon? Anybody? Thank you, Neil Armstrong. Thank you. That is true. Well, you can check out some cool stuff in there at the Saturn V Center about the whole Apollo Moon program. If you don't know anything about it, you got a lot to learn today, but there's a lot of stuff in there that's really cool. Interactive displays, very informative experience. You can spend a good hour, 2 hours at the most in Saturn V. When you're done, get back on the bus that will take you back to the visitor complex. And when it comes back to the visitor complex, it's going to stop right here in front of the Space Shuttle Atlantis exhibit. All right? I would recommend just get off of the bus and walk straight up into Atlantis. Okay? That covers the whole story of the Space Shuttle program for NASA, the Shuttle Transportation System. You see the big model, that's a replica model located outside that building there. Pretty cool. But it is a scale-sized version of the boosters used for the Space Shuttle program. Inside the Atlantis exhibit is the orbiter itself, Atlantis, that flew for NASA. And there's a ride. If you can kind of read that other way over here to the top right, that circle logo there says Shuttle Launch Experience. And that's exactly what it is. It's a simulated launch ride of a space shuttle. If you want to try that, it's like a thrill ride. It's a bit, you're going to get vibrated around, it's going to be loud. And the cool thing about this ride though is that while you're sitting like on this bus right now and you're in that ride vehicle, you're going to be all strapped in and they're going to say enjoy your liftoff, and then the front of that vehicle actually starts moving up. And it does move you into a vertical position. It locks up at 90 degrees. So you're sitting in this bus right now with all your gravity on your backside. When you're up at, picture the front of this bus going up, all your gravity's on your back and your shoulder blades, and you're lying on your back looking at the video. The video representation shows you an image of the top of that space shuttle booster, and then it starts going 10, 9, 8, and it gets all the way down to 0, and it really kicks in with a lot of vibration. And it's going to jostle you about for about 3 or 4 minutes as the video shows you going up through the clouds and going up into low Earth orbit. At the very peak of the ride, the vehicle doors are going to open up and you're going to see the Earth below you. After about 5 or 6 minutes of being vibrated, it's really cool. It stops vibration, they open the doors, you see the islands, you see the landforms slowly moving by in the clouds and all. It's a really good experience. And don't let me scare you off, it's not that bad, you can do it. They actually brought in a lot of the actual space shuttle astronauts in to do the ride before they opened it to the public, and they asked each one of them, hey, did we get that ride pretty close to what y'all experienced? And they're all like, no. No, you're way off. That's okay though, you don't really want to have to sign a damage waiver when you want to do a ride. So anyway, you get the idea. It's a really good simulated ride, you can do it. If you get there and you chicken out, there is a viewing area you can watch it from, but please, give it a go, you'll like it. Alright, let's see, Atlantis again, inside there, the orbiter, there's a lot of other interactive exhibits you can check out. There's also a memorial, of course, to the 2 crews that were lost during the shuttle program, Columbia and Challenger. Once you make your way out of the Space Shuttle Atlantis, you'll be in the main central visitor complex, okay? Here's the main attractions in the visitor complex. That big building on the top left here that says Gateway, that is the name of that attraction. Gateway is basically a current technology display. What that means is SpaceX. Anybody heard of SpaceX before? There's a Falcon 9 rocket booster hanging from the ceiling that flew in space with all its charring on it and all that. There's a SpaceX Dragon capsule that was used in a space flight test. There's an Orion capsule from NASA that was also used in a space flight test. You get the idea. There's a lot of current space tech in there that you can check out. And another ride, this other circle logo here, if you can read it, says Spaceport KSC. Alright, and that is a simulated ride over an asteroid or the surface of Mars. Similar to a ride over at Epcot Center called Soaring. Anybody done that before? This is the same type of ride. You sit down on a bench, there's a lap out, and the ride imagery makes you feel like you're scooting over the surface of the Mars. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Other attractions of the visitor complex is the IMAX movie theater. All right, that is a 20-25 minute presentation. There's a couple of various movies you can go in there and see. No 3D glasses or anything like that. Just sit down and enjoy it. Next to that is Planet Play. That's for our younger space cadets that want to go burn off some energy, and mom and dad want to do that. That's a good place to take the kids. Next to that, number 5 on that building there, that's the Orbit Cafeteria if you'd like to grab a bite to eat, something to drink. The back side up here is a memorial area to all the astronauts that have ever been involved in an accident that cost their lives in NASA. That's the memorial out there. Back down here, I want to talk in the main central pavilion. You see Journey to Mars. That is a Mars Explorer exhibit. That's really, really cool. It's got all of the robots that are on the red planet inside there on display. Very cool. Neat interactive presentation that they put on there. Across from Journey to Mars, so the big building has got a letter A on the top. That is your main gift shop. You want to try and get anything you want it in there. Just be aware the lines are going to be really long at the end of the day. So you want to do your gift shopping. Don't wait till 4 o'clock. It could take you 45 minutes to get through the line in that shop at that time of day. So heads up on that. Down here, there's one other building that's got a dark circle logo on it. If you can read that, it says Astronaut Training Experience. That's not an attraction for you all today. That's a separate classroom activity area that school groups come in and do. So you don't have to waste your time going in there. But right next to that, with the number 1 on it, is the Universe Theater. Inside there, there's 2 performances of the astronaut of the day from Kennedy Space Center. They'll be on a stage talking about what they did when they were in space. There's some video that they usually like to show. And at the end of their presentations, it's only about a half an hour presentation, they usually like to let guests ask them questions. And you may be able to get an autograph or something like that. If you're interested, that's in that building, number 1 Universe Theater. Grab on the daily schedule, like I mentioned, and see what time the astronaut is speaking in the Universe Theater. It's usually around 11 and 3:15. Other last exhibit that I'll point out is right on the very left. Once you walk in this morning, you'll see a big building. The Heroes and Legends is the Astronauts Hall of Fame. So there's information on each of the astronauts that ever flew for NASA inside there. And that's pretty much the main program. So once again, the main rides that you're going to want to do, main attractions, whatever, is the bus trip out to the Apollo Saturn V Center. Closes at 2:30. Atlantis, Spatial Atlantis exhibit. Gateway attraction, that's your other big one. Everything else a little bit less intuitive. Also, in case you need it, there's a Starbucks. They're everywhere. Should have a Starbucks on this bus.
Yes.
Maybe that make you guys feel a little better. All right, anybody have any questions? I'm going to walk down the aisle. You can please ask me directly if you have any questions. No, I can't offer you a refund for your bus delay. Don't ask me that. I know some people, sorry. But let's go down the aisle. Thanks, folks. Just so you know, everybody, when you do the bus trip today, whether you're on the general bus or the Explorer Tour, try to sit on this side out these windows. That's the way you want to go. When you're heading out there, you're going to be driving right by the Vehicle Assembly Building. Anybody know what that is? That's the huge 500-foot tall assembly building that they put the rockets together in. And you want to sit on this side for that, okay? So just keep that in mind.
some people do that. Yeah. I drove 10 hours. We drove all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. Honestly, no, 3 years ago when I first retired and my daughter it was 3,000 flights. We flew from Phoenix, yeah, back to Phoenix to yeah, but we drive a lot. I love driving. See everything. there. Yes, sir. Yeah. Cool. Gave you a look when I went to New Orleans. Yeah, outside of but I went to the mall. Right. Yeah. That's what it is. Here it comes. Use it. Look for it. Find it. You just keep it yourself. Okay. You know where you're going.
Must be great. Man, I'm hoping so. Hey, her guy won it yesterday.
Fell right into his lap.
Yeah.
Denny won it? No, Christopher
No,
Bell
she
won
likes
it.
Christopher Bell. He won Atlanta. Yeah, you don't know.
NASCAR's not over in Europe.
They're not having a.
I think they do.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do one this right. Yeah, they're going to build a couple races in Mexico. Yeah, I think they're starting.
Yeah.
Because even
Not
NASCAR. Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, my airboat guests, where you guys at? Raise your hands for the airboat trip. So, the weather has caused a cancellation of your airboat trip. Yep, you will be refunded that part of your booking for our total trip. The airboat portion of that will be refunded to you directly. All right, I apologize for that. That's nothing that we have a control of. It's a weather constraint from the airboat tour operator. They called and let us know we're not doing the airboat today because of the inclement weather. Believe me, you don't want to be in the middle of a rainstorm in Florida with lightning around or anything like that, getting rain in your face in an airboat. So you will be refunded for that. But that just means that you don't have the inconvenience of having to meet me back at 2:30. You get more time at Kennedy Space Center. So there's plus and minus. I apologize for that. Raphael says your Explore tour is at 1 o'clock? His ticket, okay. Yours says 10, okay. Can everybody hear that?
Yeah.
Nowhere to pull over.
It's a big bridge, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, folks. I don't know if you can see it. Look over to your left around your 10 o'clock. See it out there in the distance? That's the Kennedy Space Center Vehicle Assembly Building, over 525 feet tall. One of the largest single-story structures in the world. That means if you're standing on the ground in the middle of that building, you don't see any floors between you. You look up and the only thing you're going to see above your head is the roof of 525 feet. Every Saturn V rocket for the Apollo moon program was assembled vertically stacked in that building on a big crawler transporter, and then rolled from there out to the launch complex that you see on that map. They're out by the coastline. The launch complex 39A and B. The famous launch missions from Apollo 8, Apollo 11 that went to the moon, Apollo 13, all that stuff happened at these locations you're going to see today. That big building was the one where all those rockets were assembled. And then it transitioned from the Apollo program to the space shuttle. And every space shuttle mission was prepped and assembled in there. The big crawler tractor, still in use. There's two of them since the early 1960s. This big, huge tractor that can hold 7 million pounds of Saturn V on its back and roll from that building out to the launch complex there.
Wow.
1 mile per hour. Pretty crazy. That's still being used today. You'll see those on your bus trip today as well. All right, coming up, you might see some alligators. I like to point those out. I know, especially for my guests that we're looking to see some alligators today in the airboat trip. Of course, every time I tell you to look for alligators, guess what? You won't see any. But over here on the right, you're going to see a body of water, a canal. There's usually some alligators that like to frequent this area. But if you look, I know you guys aren't really out here to see alligators today. Look straight ahead. If you can see out there in front of the bus, there's the Space Shuttle Atlantis exhibit. See the big booster for the shuttle? Pretty cool. Anybody see any gators yet? Sometimes their head is just sticking up right along the edge facing the grass here towards us. They're like looking at us as we drive by going, anybody want to go swimming? Anybody want to jump in and say hello? Alligators here in the United States are called American alligators. They can get from the front of the windshield to... Raise your hand, sir. Yes, sir. See his hand up? See how hot? That's the tail. There's there you go. There's one on the right.
There's one. There's one.
There you go. Here's another one right here. Big head right here sticking out. Look at this big head right here.
Yep, I can see. I can see.
There you go. Any more on the left? Sometimes we see them over here on the left as well. Yeah, but they get very big. Fully grown males can get that long. Down in Australia and the Indonesian subcontinent down there, the saltwater crocodiles are even bigger. Let's see. Let me have you raise your hand, man. You right there. Yep. See her hand? That's how long a saltwater crocodile can get. Huge. But again, straight ahead is the Atlantis exhibit. We're going to make a turn. To the right, you'll see the visitor complex sign. If you want to photograph real quick on your left, you might get a chance to check it out. Now, there's a lot of technology partners that work with... Oh, please stop. Alright, sorry about that, folks. Loudest phone ringtone in the world. Straight ahead is another technology partner from NASA. You'll see around this turn here. Amazon Corporation. Anybody ever heard of that before? And the owner, Jeff Bezos, is spending a lot of his billions of dollars on space exploration. And this is the complex here, straight ahead, that their rocket is being developed at. It's called New Glenn. And each of these big structures here has a specific purpose for the process of the spacecraft. It's a completely reusable spacecraft, which is definitely the new ideas that space exploration is involving and embracing is reusability. And that means that they can reuse the spacecraft booster and the spacecraft itself over and over again. They couldn't do that much in the past. The space shuttle program did have reusability as far as the orbiter itself. That would come down and land and be reused, and the solid rocket boosters. So there has been some reusability in space technology before, but it's really becoming more and more prevalent now with these big private companies like Blue Origin here on the right.
Wow.
And SpaceX, of course, is developing a super heavy rocket called Starship that is going to be completely reusable. So this building, the tall building, is their vehicle assembly building for the New Glenn reusable rocket from Blue Origin. All right, finally, folks, we are arriving at our destination. About an hour late. So what we're going to do, folks, is we would normally be getting on the bus at 4:45 and leaving at 5. The theme park closes directly at 5, so make your way back to the bus at 5. Okay, 5:15 or so, a little bit extra time to come back. Okay, try to make up a little bit for you there. Again, I really apologize for the delay of our departure this morning. All right, we're going through this parking structure. I mentioned the crawler transporter. This is a replica model of the crawler transporter tracks. These are scale-size versions of those treads on the crawler transporter we're passing by right now. This isn't an actual model, but that kind of gives you an idea how big just the tractor treads are. Over on your right, you see Spatial Atlantis exhibit. Again, a scale-size replica version of the external fuel tank painted orange and the 2 white solid rocket boosters. That was the main power supply to get the big Atlantis and all the other space shuttles up into orbit. On the right's the Rocket Garden. The only one in there that again is a replica model is that shiny one with the black capsule on the top and the red escape tower. It says United States on it. That's the only one that's a model. All the others were actual spacecraft that could have been used for a mission. Just now, hey, there's a little gator on the left over here, folks, right along the edge of the waterway. See a gray looking thing there, and that's gone. And now it's gone. Now, just so you know, everybody, I know you're at Kennedy Space Center, there's no swimming on any activities today. Don't want to be out here swimming around. The other day there was a snake. It was a big black snake. I couldn't tell if it was a water moccasin, which is venomous, or just a water snake. It wasn't a python. All right, we're going to be parking over here by these other motor coaches. This is where we'll be waiting for you this afternoon. Again, don't have to come back at 2:30. Raphael, you're going to follow me. I'm going to take you up to Will Call and see what we can do about your ticket. Everybody else, I am finally actually very happy to say this to you. Welcome to Kennedy Space Center.
Yay!
All right. We'll be out here waiting for you again. We'll be here at 4:45, but